Okay, so good morning. So we'll start with the one more presentation, and then we'll go back to our command line. And I'll probably go to command line even for this, but at least we want to cover some concepts before we go to just live in the command line. Okay, so here we want to focus on two commands, ln and cp. Cp command you probably may know, copy. That's what cp is, right? So let's see, test. So I have created something. Let's delete everything. That's a rm command, deleted the files, but it doesn't delete the directories because it has stuff inside, right? So this is, I'm just going to say, bad command, by the way. If you don't know where you are issuing, you can wipe out the whole directory. If you are in home directory, if you issue this command, whole thing is gone. Okay, so make sure you're awake before you issue this command, you know. So bad things have happened for people. Okay, so now that's basically remove, recursive. Okay, recursive is a tree structure, right? Directory. So go in, delete everything below. Okay, so recursively goes down, deletes from the bottom up. Okay, very powerful command, right? It's almost like in Windows you drag the whole directory to the the recycle bin, equivalent to that. Except that there you can get it, here it's not that easy. Because the hard drive is shared by everybody. After you delete, somebody else may overwrite that free blocks, right? So it's a lot harder here to get anything back. Okay, so force, basically don't ask, that's what that means, forcefully delete. Otherwise it will ask you, you know. So see, ls text rm, let me see what happens. Default is, looks like it won't ask. So if you are not sure sometime what you are deleting, you can ask, you can do something like this, -i, it will ask. Interactive, -i, interactive, okay? It will ask you before deleting. Okay? So if you are sleepy, use -i. At least before deleting each file, it will ask you. Okay? Okay. So now we are nice and clean. So I'm just going to create one file. Okay? So the that's not very interesting content. Let's do the man page. Manual page. So I'm going to do man ls.txt. Okay? So I'm issuing the command man ls to get the manual page and redirecting to ls.txt. You can cat that one to see what the contents are, right? Cat that file to see what the contents are. Now, let's see. That's inode number, right? These are permissions, who is the owner, what's the file size, when it was created or modified last time, then that's a file name. So when you do cp command, cp ls.txt, ls2.txt, let's say, copy source to destination, right? Now let's do the same command again. So what do we see? Wow, next inode number. So that means nobody else created another file in between these times. So you can see the inode number, different inode number, and this contents ls.txt, ls2.txt, same size. So let's say I change the ls.txt to new content, or I edit it. Either I can do that, or I can just do vi that file too. And let's say I make some changes. Ignore that control characters, they are just for displaying. There you have that control characters, okay? And see control characters or something. Okay, so I have updated it. So do you think the ls2.txt will change? Guys, I want to focus. I don't want you guys to talk, you know, when I'm also recording, so let's let's focus here. So ls.txt is what I modified. What about ls2.txt? Will it change? No, right? It's a copy, right? We all know that, right? It's a copy. See, look at the times too. Look at the time. See, this one has the later timestamp now, right? Because we modified. See, that's a modification time. And either it's a creation time, or if you modified, it will be a modification time. Okay? And you can see the file size is smaller. Very good. That's very similar to Windows. That's what happens in Windows too, right? Anytime, in fact, you're working on your file and you want to take a backup, what do? You just make a copy and keep it there, then go ahead and make the changes, right? Just to be safe, so that you can go back to look at it. Okay, go look at this slide. So what really happens? Strange looking. There you go. Okay. So remember the directory we were talking about? Yeah, this is not the mode I was. Setup slideshow. Okay. Color. Okay. So remember the directory structure, what you were talking about? Directory structure is nothing but this, right? See, current directory structure directory has this portion, right? Ah, nice color. So you have each file, right? It's a bunch of file names and inode numbers. That's what the directory structure is. Directory content, really, right? Directory content. Right? File name, inode number, file name, inode number, file name, inode number. That's what it has, right? Each entry in directory simply has a name and inode number. Inode number is used as index to access specific inode structure in the inode array. And each inode structure contains the permissions. Remember, we saw that permission, link count, creation, modification, access creation or modification or access times, various other attributes in the file. And it has pointers to disk data blocks. We saw that. Let's see. Just relook at it again. Permissions, link count. I will cover that soon. Okay. Owner's user ID, group ID, file size, last time file was accessed, modified, inode was changed. Usually this is what it displays. I think that's an option in LS where you can display this various times too. But typically this is what is displayed. File is modified. Okay. And block pointers and single indirect, double indirect, triple indirect. We looked at all those stuff, right? Okay. So I'm just going to minimize this one. Go back here. Okay, we know this stuff. Any questions about this? We are pretty clear, right? Okay. So what happens when you issue a cp command? Really, when you copy, whether it's Windows or Linux, anywhere, typically something along this line happens. The directory entry, if you are copying to the same directory, one more file name is created, right? The new file name. And you can copy to some other directory too, right? You can do cp. Let's see. Go back here. cp ls.txt/temp. That's a temporary. If it's a different directory, I can even use the same file name. Nothing wrong with that. We are not modifying the current directory, we are modifying a target directory, right? We are potentially creating a new file or maybe overwriting it if it's already there. Let's do ls minus il of that. 22. Very small inode number. Okay. Why is that? What why did we get really big number here and small number there? Well, temp is probably a separate file system. Let's look at temp. May not be not many files. Let's do the df command. Df is a mount command. Mount command shows that which are all the things that are mounted. See, let's see, temp file system, something is there. Let's see, df, let's try df command. Let's see what it says. You see, yeah, right there, see. That's so temp is basically a separate file system by itself, okay. So that's why we get small numbers, ls minus il temp. When I say a directory name, it will show the inode number. It's going to show all the stuff in that directory, right? There are some big numbers too, but there are some small numbers. That's the file we created. Not a very significant thing. I was curious why we got just a small number. Okay, so you can create in some other directory too, and it may be part of same file system or may not be part of same file system. Okay, doesn't matter. But it has, depending on where that file is, target is, it will share the same disk or a different disk, different file system. So again, when you're copying your file, the new name is copied, but it accesses the current inode. Whatever stuff here, actual data, everything is copied, right? That's how we want the copy to be, right? When you make a copy, we don't want any relationship to the original. Yes?
If you had like a Linux function that you put it and add a second hard drive to it,
Mm-hmm.
does that create a second inode array, or is it just like a
That's right. It will be a separate file system. The question is, what happens when you add a new hard disk to the Linux system? So you'll be mounting the new file system onto the main one. So like a slash something, like a slash temp.
more memory?
Yeah. So your directory structure has just expanded, right? I mean, you have a lot more space. But it kind of mounts to some point, but it will be a separate file system. Inode numbers will start from 0 for that. This is inode numbers are separate. Inode numbers are only for that file system, that, what do you say, partition, right? So because remember, one hard disk can have multiple partitions, right? So each partition is a file system, right? So each file system has its own inode numbers.
Is there an inode array that stores, if you had 10 partitions of computers, is there an inode array that stores all the data that points, or that has data that points to each of the other inode arrays?
No. So they are really totally separate, really. So there is we are going to see one example where you can point across. You will see that, but it's not by inode number, because inode number is per file system, really within that file system. So which means there will be inode number 22, index 22 in this file system will be a separate file from the inode number index 22 in another system, which will be a totally different file. Okay, so it always starts from 0. Okay, you will see soon how to go across. You know, the question is how to go across, right? You will see that we are getting there. Okay, so this command really allocates different inode number and disk block for the new file entry, and it copies the whole data and then creates this new entry in the target directory and inode number. All that is done. So now you have exact duplicate, right? So now whatever happens to the original, absolutely no change, right? So that's the purpose of copy command anyway. Okay. So let's say you delete the original file, right? So you delete the original file, right? Original file, what happens to the target file? Nothing, right? Because this is a copy, right? Really, we don't want anything to happen. That's why it's a copy, right? Okay, so let's delete the original file here. We have two files here. Usual popular command is ls minus l. I keep doing ls minus il so that you can see the inode number. That's all. Okay? How did that change? Because I thought it was 226. Became bigger. Yeah. So that is really strange that it would, let's edit it again. Deleting few lines, write it. Oh, okay. So that's a kind of VI behavior, I guess. See, what it's doing is it's creating a temporary some file, then finally, when you're quitting, you're deleting the old file and giving this number. So interesting. See the behavior. That way, it's kind of temporary storing. So only when you commit that new file content, instead of writing to the old file, it simply deletes the old file and gives uses that name for the new file. Looks like, wow. Okay. So now let's delete the old file, which is the old file now. Anyway, we can, from our user point of view, that's the old file. So just delete it, right? Let's redo the steps again. Man ls ls.txt, cp ls.txt, ls2.txt. Since it's an existing file, wow. This command line sometimes you cannot do backspace. Okay, so that's a way to figure that out. You can try that. Maybe you can talk about it next time. Overwrite, yes. ls -il. Okay, now the same contents, numbers are in sequence and everything. I'm just going to delete it, right? So now target remains the same as expected, no problem. So go back here, that's how it looks. Any questions? Pretty simple so far, right? So all this we know. Okay, let's go. Consider this scenario. Let's say we are all in a development team and you are working in Linux or Unix, and all of us need a manual for some specialized software or something. We have a manual. Manual is in a file, and all of us want access to that. All of us want it in our directory. One way to do that is copy the manual to everybody's directory, right? That's one way to do it. Let's assume manual is really big. Doesn't make much sense to copy, right? Do you agree? Just read only. Really, there is no need to copy it, right? So that's where this ln command comes in. Ln, link. Ln stands for link. Okay? So when you do ln file name 2, what they do is it creates one more directory entry, but it uses the same inode number. So same contents got a new name. That's all. Same contents, right? So there are this for this file you got 2 names. Okay? Is there a Windows equivalent for this? Close, but it's not. I'm going to show the shortcut equivalent very soon.
Something similar starting in Windows 7. I think it's MK Link or something.
Okay, okay, good. Okay.
I don't think it was MK.
Okay, MK link, make link. Okay. Okay, so this is also known as the hard link. Hard link. Hard link. These are so interesting, these links are, that once you create a link, you cannot even tell which was the original, which is the new. Because all the permission, everything is inode structure, see? So these guys are just the name, that's all we have, right? You created a new name. So what we can do is I can have, let's say I'm the team lead for you guys, I have this manual in my directory. So then if the permissions cooperate, you guys can link, you can do the ln command, and what happened? I moved to the next page, looks like. Okay, so we said hard link, right? So we can do ln my file name and your directory / that same file name. Or you can even just say your directory. Let's try that. I'm just going to pretend that one more, let's remove this one, man ls.txt. I'm going to pretend one more directory is yours, okay? Member 1, team member 1, okay? So now what I can do, ln, I'm just going to, before that I'm just going to show this, ln ls.txt member 1. What do I mean by this? Create a link within the member 1 directory. Since it's a directory, so hopefully it will do it. Now let's look inside the member. So our ls.txt, the current directory is this. Within the member 1 directory, the ls.txt, you can give it a different name too, nothing wrong with that. And it has the same inode number.
The one on the left, the inode number, the number on the right, the 155.
That's a file size. That's a file size, yeah. 10,055 bytes is what we have. So now you see ls minus il member 1, the ls.txt inside the member 1 directory has everything except this is 2. Now let's check our current directory 1, 2. Back to current directory. That also says 2. So that 1 became 2. Any ideas why that is the case? 2 links, right? There are 2 file names associated with the target data. So that's what this is. See, right there are 2 links, right? 2 file names from two different file names, either same directory or different directory, doesn't matter. They are pointing to the same inode structure and the content. So you can use this file name or this file name to access the contents. So now all of you have a local entry in your directory that you can access the manual. See? And we are not occupying more space. It's the same file. We simply have, each one of us have a entry to access it easily. That's all. Okay?
If you do this kind of link, does that mean everyone who gets linked in can change it also?
That depends on the permissions. See, you can give the link, but I can still keep it read-only. See? So here, for example, I can let you create, in fact, I can issue the command for you, then it will create a link. If you give me permissions to write into your directory, you will have a link to this, and I will give the permission. That's a chmod command, change mode. That's what that stands for. That's a video on that too. I will, if it's not on already, I will turn it on. Chmod command I am explaining in full detail. So group and others, I think there's one slide also. So if I do that, so then now let's see what happens. See, there are permissions. That's my permissions. That's the group permissions. There are others permission. In fact, I don't need to give others permission. All of us are in the same group. So you guys can read. I can write. You guys can just read. Okay? So that ensures that nobody writes their own documentation inside, you know. Okay? Unless I want to. If I want to give permission, of course, I can give write permission. Then you guys, you know, if I believe all of you, then we can do that. Yes.
So will the permissions be the same as that one?
Permissions will be same as this one. Yes. If I give their... Yeah, so good question. So let's do the IL member 1. See, the permissions reflected there too. Remember, the reason is simple. Go back to the screen. Only thing separate is the file name. Everything else, the permissions are here. When any of this one, if you are allowed to change the permission, usually typically only the owner of the file can change the permission, because owner is me. You have LinkedIn, but you are LinkedIn. But owner is me. I am the only one can change the permission. So, but that permission will be reflected everywhere. Because when you do ls-il, you are really printing the same information. Because it's information coming from this inode structure. Okay? So, okay. Then let's say you're deleting the original. What should happen? Remember the CP one? When you deleted, what happened? Original, everything is gone. right? File content is gone, inode that block became free, this entry was deleted, so on current directory. So here what should happen? Can you delete everything? Can we? When let's say we delete this file name, should we delete everything, all this? Somebody else is pointing to. They don't know that's what's happening, right? If you just delete it, what happens to this then? That's where that link count comes in. So when you delete, simply link count is reduced from 2 to 1. So remember we saw the link count there when you did in the command line? Right here? Link count is 2. So currently, let me do this, ls minus l star. Currently, I have current directory ls, that has link count 2. Within the member1 directory, I have ls.txt2, that's a link count 2. In fact, if this was confusing to you, let's go ahead and delete this one, delete the other one, and create ls.txt member1 new ls.txt. At least there's no, now we are clear that it's different file. See, ls.txt and new ls.txt inside the member1. Now you can even create one more ls.txt, one more file locally. All of them same inode number. See, link count became 3 because all 3 files pointing to the same inode number. So, okay, what will happen if I delete these two, ls.txt, ls2.txt? What will this number become? 1, right? Because now 3 are pointing. As you delete each one, the link count becomes lower and lower. So that's what that link count is right here. So the deletion is that when link count is 1, if you are deleting, 1 becomes 0, nobody is pointing at me, right? When link count becomes 0, nobody is pointing at me, we have to delete all the stuff at that time. Once it becomes 0, we delete everything. We free up that inode block, free up all the disk blocks, everything, clean it out, okay? Until then, it stays on. So when you are deleting here, origin of file name, only the link count is reduced. Okay. Here is another one. I remember I used the term hard link. Why you use that hard link is that there is another link, symbolic link. So the symbolic link does not link to the inode number, rather just points to the path name. You can specify the path name. So it's a little bit indirect. Okay. So you go here. So how do you access? Well, when you do cat file name 2, it goes here. Inode number goes into the inode structure. It realizes that this is a special entry. This is just a shortcut, Windows shortcut. That's what this is. Okay. So equivalent to Windows shortcut. It consumes one more inode. Can you see that? It consumes one more inode structure. In fact, it even consumes one disk block to store the target path name and file and all that, file name. Okay, not the file's content, it's just the file name, that's all. Okay, full path name or the relative path name, right? So it has that, and so you basically access indirectly. When you do cat file name 2, it still will display the content, but it goes through this process, goes here and goes this way. So it, right, it goes this way and traverses this way, and that's how it accesses. So okay, why would you use this one versus that one? Let's go ahead and do this first. Let's see which one we want to delete. Remove ls2.txt, remove member1. slash new ls.text and il. So now our link count became 1. Okay. Here is something interesting. The member1 directory link count is 2. That's because member1 is here, and member1 also has another entry within the member1 directory itself as a dot, hidden directory type, hidden entries. So it has 2 entries. So same concept applies. Any directory, it will have minimum link count, typically is 2 minimum, because it has an entry in the parent directory, and also its own directory, it has an entry called dot. Okay, not very important, so just want to point that out. So let's not get too distracted by that. Okay, let's get back to the symbolic link, ls.txt. Let's see, ln symbolic link I don't know whether it will work even. Let's see. Member1. Let's go there and see what it is. Yeah. I'm afraid it won't work. So this is a shortcut, but see where it's pointing to? It's simply pointing to ls.text. Well, there is no ls.text here. You have to give you a proper path, see? Okay? You have to tell how to access ls.text. So this was not good enough, So you have to, either you can use the full path, right? Or let me try this. You can do member1. There are several ways to do. So let's try the original way. ln, so that didn't work. So let's go ahead and delete that one. ln symbolic link ls.txt member1 new ls.txt. I'll explain why that's the case. Now let's go to cd member1 and cat new ls.txt. Now it works. Why is that? How can I show the full thing here? New ls.txt is nothing but a shortcut to ls/ls.txt. What does that mean? Parent directory. Go to the parent directory. There should be a file called ls.txt. That's what I want to access. Okay? So that's one way to do. Another way to do it is you can give the full path name. I created the hard link. ln minus symbolic. This is my source, the original file. I'm giving this full path name so that it can properly be accessed, right? So ls2.txt. Let's see. ls2. See, it uses my full path name. Okay. That will work too. Okay, so just we have to be careful, make sure that we can, from wherever that file is, we can access it. On the other hand, if you are in the main directory itself, wherever you are creating, I don't know why you would create another symbolic link, but if you do create a symbolic link like this, ln minus yes ls dot, then that's okay, because both are in the same directory. ls2.txt accessing pointing to ls.txt, that will work because they're all in the same directory. Let's try one more command. ln minus s ls.txt temp ls.txt. We created ls.txt before, so it says file already exists. So let's do ls2. No problem. Okay. So, well, it will not work though, unfortunately, right? Because you need that full path name. You created, but it will not work. That's why there's blinking. Sometimes you will see the blinking ones. Now it doesn't blink. Oh, because there is a ls.txt. See, unexpected issues. You created a ls.txt link, but there is a ls.txt in the temp. You are really pointing to some other file, effectively. Okay. So let's try ls. Sometime when you are searching, it can take a long time. Let's say temp ls3.txt. You can do that. So bottom line is, from temp you can point to your current directory and all that. Okay. See, where is that link? Yeah, right there. ls temp ls star. Let's say that's what we want to look at. Temp ls star. ls2 pointing to local ls.txt. ls3 pointing to my home directory, my directory ls.txt. Let's try just one more command. ln current ls.txt temp ls4.txt. hard link. Okay. Let's try hard link. Creating hard link. ls4.txt ls.txt invalid cross device link. Remember the inodes we were talking about? Temp is a different file system. You cannot create a hard link across the file systems, because hard link means they share the inode number, right? So when you do hard link, you can do only within the file system. Whereas the shortcuts, Windows shortcuts, right? Windows shortcut, there's no restriction, right? You can even create a shortcut for something that doesn't exist. Right? So shortcut is very logical, very high level. You can create from anywhere to anywhere. Okay. So in fact, I'm going to get rid of this file, current ls.txt. Let's see what happens. How does that temp looks? See, now it's blinking red. Basically, it's saying that target doesn't exist. Yes.
You would run like an editing file that was symbolically.
Mm-hmm.
You would run like nano ls2.txt.
Mm-hmm.
That pull up ls.txt.
That's right. That's right. Let's go to temp. Let's go to temp and do. See, there is a ls.text and ls2.text, right? See, ls.text, ls2.text is pointing to ls.text. So if you do like this, it will pull up that original file. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's no difference in usage point of view. They versus what user sees is a symbolic link or a regular link. You will get the target contents. Okay. And you can update it too. Yeah. So both cases there's only one copy too. Okay. So, but you can have this dangling links. See, we deleted the target, but still you have this ls3.text kind of lingering around. Dangling pointer, which you will cover in C++ later. So same thing applicable here too. Okay. So what happens when you do ls3.text? Well, ls3.text exists. What it's saying is no such file or directory for this. Whatever it's pointing, there is no such thing exists. That's what it means. It's kind of confusing there, right? Okay, let's get back here. I know there's a lot of details. Let's get back here. Let's see. What happens when file name is deleted? This is a symbolic link, right? So when you delete the top thing, it looks like this. So file name 2 becomes really useless at this point. Okay. So yeah, when you are deleting, we have to be a little bit careful. See how many places we are pointing to. If you are worried about that, there's a command, we can talk about it, how to figure that out, how to see whether from other places whether it's being pointed. Okay, any questions? So to summarize, cp command really makes a copy of everything, right? So pretty much whatever you have for one file, it copies the whole thing for when you're creating another file. That's how it's really independent, completely independent of the original, right? Once copied, that's the purpose of cp command. Whereas ln command is just one more file name. You can have it in one directory, or you can have it in any directories within the same file system. Okay, and you're all pointing to all of them pointing to the same content, so it saves a lot of memory, hard disk space, and when deletion happens, the link count ensures that it doesn't get deleted. Target data doesn't get deleted until link count is 0. Symbolic link, more flexible. You can do it from anywhere in the directory structure, not just the same file system. And so more flexible in that sense. And most likely the anybody can create, as long as I kind of give access permission, you can create this link yourself in your directory. Okay, and when for original gets deleted, you may have a bunch of dangling pointers. Okay, so that's what happens in Windows shortcut, right? When you click on something, target not found sometimes, right? Okay, so that is about this discussion about ln and cp commands. Let me stop.